In addition to implicit personality theory, halo effect, and selective perception, attribution theory also helps to really get us a firmer understanding of the perceptual problems that occur in relationship to our social interactions and how we may misperceive others. And in attribution theory, this is where we make causal attributions for other people's behaviors. We basically are assuming motives here, which really and truly you can't always know. In some cases, you can make some causal attributions, and the other person may even reveal their causal attributions to you. But in many cases, you really won't know. You won't know why someone said something or why someone behaved a certain way. There are two primary types of attributions. One is a dispositional attribution. This is really related to the person, like their personality, just the way they are, and where we use that as a cause for their behavior. And we most often make dispositional attribution and relationship in reference to positive things about ourselves. So if we do something good, it's because we're so great. And then situational attributions, on the other hand, we attribute the cause of behavior, what happens, to the situation. And these are most common in judging other people's behavior. So if they did something great, well, the situation really enabled them to do it. It's not because they're just so great. Or even if they're so bad, we don't think that. We usually think, well, maybe the situation caused them to have that negative behavior. So these are some perceptual problems that can occur. In addition, we also have things like prejudice and stereotypes and discrimination. And there's some misconceptions. Some people use the terms prejudice and discrimination interchangeably, but prejudice deals with attitudes and judgments that we make about a group of people, usually based on very limited experience and sometimes no experience whatsoever. And it may be just from what we hear other people say about their experiences with that group, or it might even be that we see that group portrayed a certain way through the media, which can have an impact on the way that we view them. And prejudice can be both positive or negative. And common types of negative prejudice include things like racism, ethnocentrism, sexism, ageism, ableism, which, if you don't know what that is, deals with disability. Discrimination, though, is where we take our prejudice a step further and we actually have negative action based on the prejudice. And so, very typical examples of discriminatory acts are when people make negative jokes, make a group of people the butt of jokes, or in hiring process where someone's discriminated against, or promotion processes where people are discriminated against. But discrimination occurs in a variety of different contexts, in a variety of different ways. And I really want you to think about if you've ever felt like another person has held a prejudicial attitude towards you. Maybe it could have been because of your hair color, or your height, or your age, or your race, your ethnicity, where you're from. Maybe you have a little bit of an accent. You don't talk like everybody else. But, when you think about it, many of us have all experienced someone that had a prejudicial attitude towards us at some time or another. But think a little bit further if someone's actually discriminated against you because of that attitude. Now, I always like to have college students think about some of the stereotypes that are related to their situation, being a college student. And if anyone's ever treated you like that stereotype. And I know just from my own experiences, I hear people say college students, they drink all the time, alcohol that is, they don't go to class, they are broke. That's another stereotype related to college students. And obviously, most people don't fit the stereotype. And you may have had someone actually act discriminatory against you, said negative things about you, or made negative attributions toward you because of a stereotype. And that can be extremely frustrating. The only reason I use college students here is because that's something that all of y'all have in common, no matter what race, ethnicity, gender you happen to be. Now, these perceptual problems can be improved upon. Your perceptual problems and others' perceptual problems. It's never too late necessarily to teach an old dog new tricks, or too early to teach a puppy new tricks, in the sense that no matter how old you are, no matter how ingrained some of these perceptual problems are, you're never too young, too old, too fixed in your ways, or too not fixed in your ways to learn how to fix those perceptual problems. There's a nice list that are in your textbook. I really encourage you to look through them very carefully. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on them. First, you do need to question the accuracy of your perceptions. You really need to ask those hard questions like, did I really see that? Did I really observe that? Did I really have enough encounters with a person to make that sort of attribution? Also, seek more information to verify your perceptions. And you have to be open, though, to being wrong. Because if you seek more information, oftentimes what you do is, through selective perception, you just verify your expectations rather than actually being open to the fact that you might be wrong when you try to verify information about your particular perceptions. Also, move beyond those cultural level and sociological level perceptions to make psychological level perceptions. Psychological level perceptions are when you get to in more intimate relationships with people. You get to know the other person. And so you're not going to be relying on stereotypes. Your perceptions also will change over time. This is not a negative thing, it's a positive thing. And so first impressions don't necessarily mean the end all. I think that phrase, you never have a second chance to make a first impression, is correct technically. However, you do have a chance to change that perception over the course of time. And also, you should use perception checking. That is, in conversations with people, you ought to ask them or rephrase things in a way that will allow you to check your perceptions to make sure that you're not having a problem with perceptions. Next, we're going to be looking at the posted reading online, which looked at forming online identities. I think that's very apropos since we happen to be doing a class online, and we'll be talking more about that in the next portion of the lecture.